Alright, so this is a playback of the DLC 100% world record that I got off stream yesterday. For those of you not familiar with this category, DLC 100% is basically completing the Cuphead DLC as quickly as possible to 100% completion, which involves beating all the bosses on Expert, completing the King's Leap, and collecting all the coins, and also... Ooh, Michael, thank you for the raid one. Most importantly and most difficult, the most difficult part is uncursing the Cursed Relic, which involves fighting 5 out of the 6 DLC Isle bosses with the Cursed Relic equipped in order to get enough points to uncurse the Cursed Relic. And for those of you not familiar with the Cursed Relic mechanics, you start each fight with 1 HP. It gives you a bunch of like kind of like watered down charm effects. But the most difficult part is that it also randomizes your weapon. Anytime you press or release the shoot button, you end up switching through one of the weapons in the game at random, which means that if you want to keep the same weapon, you cannot let go of the shoot button once you have it, and that includes you cannot dash, you cannot EX, because those things stop you from shooting. So if you do that, and then press shoot again, you'll end up with a different weapon. Although you can let go of the shoot button completely and then EX a few times, which you'll see that we do later on in the run. Hey Duty, thank you for the GG. Yeah, minimum of 16 points in total, and different bosses are worth different amounts of points. So the route for this involves beating all the DLC Isle bosses except for Moonshine Mob with the relic. You have to beat Chef Saltbaker with the relic. If you beat all the bosses except Chef Saltbaker with the relic, then it won't be enough points to uncurse it. Hey Lurky Loop, welcome. Have you heard us about Stay Out of the House? That sounds familiar, Walkman. Hey Link, thank you for the congrats. Yeah, I will say this category has probably been the most stressful category to grind. I would say nerves got to me a lot more in this category than any other category. Like, just based on heart rate and how nervous I felt, like, my hands are shaking later. If I ever get deep in a run in this category, on world record pace, my hands start shaking. Like, I just get nervous, my heart rate goes through the roof. This is a more stressful category than 300%, despite it being way shorter. Yeah, I PB'd off-stream twice yesterday, and then I got this world record, so really 3 times total. And including 2 runs back-to-back. Like, this 1739 on the PB that we're comparing against was actually the run right before this run, which is crazy. Anyway, nothing too out of the ordinary. We got kind of an below-average mausoleum pattern here, but still not too bad. Not too much to talk about. Forest Follies went well. We did all the base game stuff that we need to do here. You have to complete Forest Follies and Mausoleum 1 in order to access the DLC Isle. What was the PB before 39? It was a 1743. Oh gosh, Link. You're like... It's kind of like an ongoing meme in the stream to tell me to play Hollow Knight. I've never played Hollow Knight before. Maybe I will someday, but I am not trying to in the near future. I want to play some indie horror games. Anyway. Oh, and for those, I don't remember if I mentioned it earlier, but if you're not subscribed to me on YouTube, please subscribe to me on YouTube. Once I hit 10,000 subscribers, which currently I'm at 9.9k, once I hit 10,000 subscribers, I will do a Cuphead hit list playthrough. I will grind this game until I beat it without taking damage. So, that should be a fun thing to have. I've never done a hit list run before. I've never attempted to do a hit list run before. Hey, Skittles. GG's, maybe it's all the distraction chat. No, I like interacting with chat. Like, I find other things to keep myself occupied, because I think it helps to interact with chat while I play through this game, because it kind of keeps me distracted from being nervous about it. As you can see here, we gained a lot of time on pawns, because the 1739 I got had a ridiculously bad pawns. Like, that wasn't even a perfect pawns, and we saved 7 seconds there. So, that's kind of why I did not get world record on the previous run, because of pawns being so bad. This match will get red hot. Here goes. Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with Hollow Knight. I've seen it before. I've just never played it before. I'm not against playing it. I have so many other things I'm trying to do. Yeah, these night strats are pretty insane. Big improvement over the world record. These strats were found after the previous world record was set. I think these strats were discovered like just a few months ago, or at least a more consistent setup for these strats. You can cancel your parry. There's a 10-frame window where you can cancel the bounce up after a parry, and it's very useful on that fight in particular. Hey Lego, thanks for the congrats. I think we have a solid bishop fight here, but not a great one. Actually, I don't think it's even a great one. I think it's kind of a bad one. You get pretty bad RNG. Like, everything's just far away from the bishop right now. And I also kind of played it a little badly, too. Yeah, I get hit there. Oh, I missed that top. I missed the top candle. And this is kind of like, down to 1 HP here is kind of nerve-wracking. Oh, I missed that again. Yeah, that was actually kind of a bad bishop. We could save a few seconds there. We could save probably 5 seconds there, because I think our previous PB still had a potential time save. I'm going to rook. We're still in decent shape here. We're still almost 7 seconds ahead of the world record. I think we have a very good rook as well. These heads come out with varying delays. Like, there's variability in when the heads pop out, so you kind of have to guess them correctly. I went for a double there, but didn't hit it. If you get a frame, if you parry on the same frame that the parry explodes on the boss, there's a chance that it explodes for double. You get double damage there. Could have finished it 1 head sooner if we'd gotten that double damage hit. But yeah, overall it was still a very solid fight. And then going to queen, world record had a ridiculous queen on it, which we've only ever matched once, I think. A little bit slow on these parries. I think that counts. Yeah, that one counts for double. Overall, very solid queen though. Still 4 seconds faster than, or slower than what world record did, but overall, we have a 5:46 King's Leap, which was... It's not our best. Our best King's Leap time is a 5:37, so 9 seconds faster than this, but it's still a very solid time. I would say anything below 5:50 is very good. World record had a 5:52, I believe. Graveyard puzzle here we get the information from. Nice rook, thank you. Hey, Michael, welcome in. Yeah, Tasker Queen where it gets consistent double hits. I don't even know, like, what causes the double hits. It seems like whenever you hit Queen, right when they're changing direction, right when it's changing direction, it has, like, a chance to hit the double. Here's a shop improvement over the previous world record. Instead of going over and buying the items right next to the relic, you buy the first item, and then during shop glitch, as the screen's fading out, you hit right 3 times, and then buy the relic. You have just enough time before the loading screen kicks in to narrowly buy the relic, so it's slightly faster to buy it that way. So calm, the game can't wait for Mortimer to tilt everyone. Mortimers are always very tilted. Hey Galachi, thanks for the GG. Yeah, Rook and Queen cooperating is a sign of a good run. Yeah, Mortimer is like incredibly bad. I thought I had an EX ready there, but I did not, so... Small mistake. Should be good. Nice. Yeah, still saved a little bit of time over world record, probably because of the improved shot, but lost a little bit of time over PB. But overall, still very good. Now, Howling Aces has an incredible world record split. World record got a 107 on this fight, which I've only ever matched in practice once. Bina McCory, welcome in. GG for the great world record. Thank you, thank you. Your record was very, very hard, very, very hard to beat. Very, very good time. So thank you, thank you. Bina McCory in chat, everyone. Yeah, we got roundabout fairly quickly here. Almost get hit by that fire hydrant. Very tough. I held back damage a little bit there because I was afraid of getting troll transition, so I waited to make sure that the last hit was whenever the boss was starting was already doing the next attack, and then they canceled the attack early. Kind of a sloppy second phase here. Just missing a lot of shots. It's still decent. If you parry that, like, that's an incredibly difficult laser pattern, but if you do parry it low enough, you don't bounce up into it, you can still survive. I get 1 whetstone hit here, and then I try to cool down my whetstone again to get a second. So I get 2 whetstone hits during this cycle. I'm not even going to bother trying to hit those back there. Just set up a trap for the next one, and then we get the 3-cycle kill, which is nice. Still lost close to 8 seconds, or over 8 seconds over compared to world record there, at the 114. But still a very decent fight. Double hits caused by the queen moving back to the hitbox of the cannonball. Okay, so it does kind of have to do with the queen changing directions, because you need the queen to be changing directions to do that. Interesting. Yeah, Mortimer and Glumstone are by far the most stressful bosses in this category. Mortimer, I just think, is the hardest, the most difficult boss. Ideally for this phase, you want either Crackshot or Roundabout. Roundabout's faster, but Crackshot's acceptable. And with Crackshot, you want to try to jump into Mortimer as much as possible, because Crackshot does slightly more damage if you hit before it actually does the little crack. Luckily, we get Spread right away. Spread's ideal for the rest of the fight. And you'll see I do a lot of jumps to prep my Whetstone hit. You get a Whetstone every 8 parries at this phase of the game with the Cursed Relic. And you want to make sure that you have a Whetstone on tap, so that whenever Mortimer does the slam attack, which I think you'll do right here. No, you didn't even do it. But whenever Mortimer slams the ground, normally you have to either dodge or jump an EX, or like either dash over it or jump an EX. But if you do that, then you end up switching the weapon that you're on whenever you press shoot again, because dashing or EXing will reset your weapon with the Cursed Relic. So you want to try to do that without changing your weapons, without releasing the shoot button. So getting a Whetstone hit on cooldown so you can Whetstone over the spikes is like the best way to do that section, so you can ensure that you keep the same weapon. We got a 107, which is still a very solid time. Still a little slower. Previous world record had a 104 on that fight. What do you think is the best realistic time for this category right now? Probably a 17-1, like a high 17-1x. Like 17-18, 17-17, probably around there. But I am not going to be grinding it down that far. Not right now, anyway. Maybe in the future I'll come back to it. Glumstone for first phase. Charge is acceptable, but you can only ever shoot charge once before you switch weapons, because you have to release the shoot button to shoot it. Spread is fine until the first platform falls down, and then you really want Roundabout. We got hit there, which is really bad. We got Roundabout. Roundabout's great for first and second phase. Good consistent damage. Or really good for the first to second phase transition. So you can get a Roundabout trap going here, and then you really want Spread after this. Now ideally you'd have 2 HP here, and then you could actually shoot... Right, we got Spread, which is nice. You could shoot... You could damage boost, and then during your iframes... That was really, really close. You can shoot a double damage Super Art 1 that hits both. We got our extra HP just to lose it instantly. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so nervous just watching this fight back. So many close calls there. How much of a difference do the Whetstone hits make? I mean, Whetstone does something like 15 damage per hit, so all that extra damage is very helpful. For final phase here, I like to start with a charge shot if you can get one, and then Roundabout's ideal. Twist Up's not bad. This is one of the rare situations where Twist Up's actually useful, because Twist Up damage is not bad, it's just hard to hit. Alright. That fight looked kind of smooth, other than how terrifying second phase was, but we actually got a pretty bad time there. Our best time on that fight is a 110. Previous world record had, I think, a 117 on that fight, or maybe a 118. And we got a 123, so there's a lot of room for improvement on that fight. Okay, 16 damage per hit. So I was off by 1. Close, though. So here we unequip Super Art 1, we don't use it anymore for the rest of the run. You don't want it, actually, because you want to be able to use your cards when you have full cards. And we switch back to Miss Chalice specifically for this fight. And this fight, I remember thinking that the fight went better off than it ended up being. I'm going to see where I made mistakes here, because first phase seemed fine. Maybe not as much spread damage as I would have liked. But we still got a pretty fast first phase. Let's see how second phase goes here. Damage boost to shoot 2 EXs. Damage boost shoot 2 more EXs here. Shoot a charge EX. Yeah, we get a left side kill. Decent amount of over damage for that pattern. Where do I lose time? Oh, we missed a shot there. Okay. Okay. Is that really up? I guess that's all the time loss. Yeah, we lost 3 seconds over PB. And we only really missed one shot. Kind of disappointing that's a 49. Our best time without snail skip, just a standard fight, is a 45 on that. That still saved a little bit of time over world record, though. World record had a 50, I believe. So at this point, nerves are starting to hit. We're 3.5 seconds ahead of our PB, which would give us world record, but we're still 9 seconds behind the current world record, so we still need to play incredibly well for Esther and Saltbaker. Yes, got world record yesterday, Mr. Switchy. Rewatching it today, though. I did not do it on stream. There's so much management for mini bombs and whetstone in this fight. At this point, you get whetstone every 3 hits. And to do as well as possible, you need to play aggressively on Esther. If you whetstone as much as possible, you can get below 110 on this fight. World record does not play as aggressively in this fight. The previous world record, and we got, I believe, a 114. Yeah, doorknobs, we did. Okay, yeah, solid. I thought I had a whetstone cooldown there. I did not. So down to 1 HP. Luckily, you can kind of play this phase safely and not lose too much. I should probably be cooling down a whetstone right here, but I don't. Yeah, that's okay. Still a decent fight. Saved a couple seconds there. 7 seconds behind world record. World record has a 144 Saltbaker. We need to get like a 136 or better on Saltbaker to get world record. We get a star skip, actually, which gives us a little more breathing room. Thanks, doorknobs. Now, Saltbaker has such a high skill ceiling, but there's so much RNG involved because you need a different weapon for each phase. Like, ideally, you would want roundabout in first phase, but crackshot's also acceptable. The problem is, during the first to second phase transition, the game forces you to stop shooting, so even if you have a weapon you want, you need to cycle through weapons again during second phase, where you do want roundabout again. Third phase, you want lobber, and fourth phase, you want chaser. I'll explain why you want chaser in a little bit, because chaser's not normally something you want. But here, we get roundabout right after the first weapon swap. We started with chaser, get roundabout, we play it aggressively with whetstone. You get a whetstone hit every other hit, but you can cool down the whetstone during your previous whetstone hit if you double tap B. You double tap the jump button. Finally can breathe a little bit now that we got our first parry, because that gives us an extra HP. Some clutch dodges there. I try to cycle to get crackshot because you can shoot this, which helps you a little bit at the beginning of this phase because it shoots some little projectiles at the enemies. And we get roundabout fairly quickly in second phase, so we're kind of cruising. The great thing about roundabout here is that you can set up roundabout traps for whenever the salt shakers are not spawned in yet. It takes 6 roundabout hits for each I keep calling them salt shakers. They're pepper shakers. They say pepper right on them. But anyway, there's kind of like very little wasted damage with roundabout here. And then luckily we get lobber right away. So at this point I'm nervous. I'm like, I know this is it if I play well. And we nail it. We get the a decent lobber trap, not too great, but we hit both of our triples with the lobber EXs. Then you have Chaser here. Chaser gives you consistent damage, even if the damage is low, and also gives you an EX that can hit for that hits for more than Pea Shooter plus homes in on the enemy. So then we drop a lobber at the end and finally get the kill. 1733. Oh man. Watching that back is just reliving it. Stressful. Yeah, we ended up getting a 136, which I believe I said we need a 136 to get world record. I guess we could have, in hindsight, gotten like a 138 and still gotten world record, but man, a tough run. Very good Saltbaker to close it out. It's what we needed. Thanks to the GG's, sweetness. Thanks, Michael. W from Kings. Yeah, I'm going to let the outro play out here, but that was a very stressful run. It was a very stressful category. Just having to manage your weapons and like knowing that one mistake can ruin the run. Like, this is pretty high stakes run with very little margin of error. Similar to Hater Percent, like in Hater Percent, you get hit once, you need to restart a boss. But like, I feel like Hater Percent is still a little more lenient because the category is so long that one small mistake and resetting on a boss isn't as impactful over the course of the run. And this, if you like have to reset a boss, the run's basically over. Thanks, Mina McCory. Thanks, Slimzy. Thanks, Doorknobs. Thanks, Michael. So what's next? I'm taking a break from Cuphead for now. I'm just going to go show the title screen right here just so you guys can see. VSync is off. DLC is at 100%. I'll go in there and show the Cursed Relic as well. But yeah, I'm taking a break from Cuphead for now. Probably going to play through some indie games and then come back to Cuphead in the future. But yeah, we got the Divine Relic. The category is done.